All right, ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Claude, I'm just stepping onto the scene, and the verses just ended between Anthony Hamilton versus Musiq Soulchild. Um, to be honest, if I were to grade this particular episode of Verzuz, and I do realize it's a Valentine's Day special, so the energy is obviously going to be different than a normal Verzuz, like, for example, between Dipset versus the Lox, obviously KRS-One versus Big Daddy Kane, 3-6 Mafia versus Bone Thugs and Harmony. Those guys, as you know, there's no real love lost when it comes to them. So no question about that. But as far as I'm concerned, if I were to grade this particular Verzuz, I would give it a B minus. As far as I'm concerned, the energy, as I mentioned, forget the fact that it's totally different. Also the fact that, for about, I think 85% of the Verzuz, Musiq Soulchild was almost disinterested, in my opinion. Anthony Hamilton won this Verzuz hands down, as far as I'm concerned. And listen, Musiq Soulchild probably has more hits, but when it comes to just commanding the stage presence, command of the stage, vocal prowess, listen, Anthony Hamilton sang rings around Musiq Soulchild. It seemed like Musiq Soulchild was stuck doing too many riffs. Again, he seemed very disinterested, in my opinion. But again, that's only my opinion. But Anthony Hamilton bought it with just about every single song. Now, he messed up near the end a couple of times, and he acknowledged that. But listen, he was coming with much more energy than Musiq Soulchild. Musiq Soulchild, there were a couple of times where he just ended. It seemed like a little too early, and again, he seemed very disinterested, in my opinion. And it was sort of disheartening. Now, the last two songs, if he had kept that energy, for the energy that he had for Buddy and Love, if he had that energy for the rest of his songs, he probably would have won this particular Verzuz, but in my opinion, he just didn't. And I was very disappointed with the way he sung So Beautiful. That was very disappointing. Half Crazy was all right. But to me, Anthony Hamilton just did so much better, just brought much more energy. Obviously, you knew he was going to end it with Charlene, and he did his thing as usual. But if you were going to tell me, I'm going to be honest, I thought that Anthony Hamilton was going to sing better than Musiq Soulchild anyway. To me, he's just a better vocalist. But I didn't expect it to be the total domination that it was. Now, once again, the last two songs, now you could make a case that Musiq Soulchild, if you want to say that he stole the last 15 to 20 minutes, I'll give you that. Because Love, he did, he was tremendous doing that song. And let's face it, he had the whole place jumping with Buddy at the end. He truly did. But see, there was so much before that where he was just he was mediocre at best. It seemed like, oh, let me do this song. I'm hauling, And Anthony Hamilton would be like, what? This is over? And Anthony Hamilton also brought out the better guests and more guests, so to speak. And I'm going to be honest, that was disappointing as well. When Musiq Soulchild brought out the young lady from 702, for her to just come out there and so much Professor Love for Musiq Soulchild and talk about where my girls at and all. I mean, Ma, you could have stayed home for that. I mean, seriously, you really brought absolutely nothing to the table. Now, if you want to say that Leela James really didn't bring too much outside of shaking her butt a couple of times, listen, that's a fair point as well, and I give you that. But it was really crazy, man. I mean, it was good to see Donnell Jones, even though, to me, Donnell Jones should have sang Where I Want to Be, because let's face it, you know what's up. I mean, you think Donnell Jones, but you also think Left Eye, and that's not really a Valentine's Verzuz type deal, but it was good to see Donnell Jones come out there also. And I tell you, when it comes to the guests, obviously, in my opinion, Anthony Hamilton won that hands down as well. Obviously, was disappointing that Jadakiss wasn't able to make it to do what, because that was one of the signature songs. I mean, it's more of a Jadakiss signature song than an Anthony Hamilton song, but I get it. It was, I mean, all in all, it was a decent Verzuz. I mean, it wasn't a great Verzuz. And again, Musiq Soulchild's energy. I mean, and I like Musiq Soulchild. I like a lot of his music, but he just didn't bring it to me, man. He was just like, yeah, I'm Musiq Soulchild. And then when he was over riffing at times, like, I mean, I'm like, yo, my man, really? First of all, you're not going to outsing Anthony Hamilton. I mean, to me, that was almost a desperation type Hail Mary, you know what I mean? Are you serious? Musiq? You think Musiq won that, LaShawn Vaughn? Really? I mean, that's your opinion. So, I mean, I just, to me, he just didn't have the energy. Anthony Hamilton sang rings around Musiq Soulchild. I mean, it wasn't even close. And Musiq has, if you want to say Musiq had more hits, listen, they were about the same. Now, the last two songs, Musiq was better. But overall, I mean, do you really think Musiq won that? Really? Hey, I mean, I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree with you. Wholeheartedly disagree with you. I mean, and again, I like Musiq Soulchild. But again, he seemed disinterested. And I tell you what, they should almost have a limit of how many songs you can lip sync on. Because to me, the lip syncing takes away from the verses. Again, that's only my opinion. And I understand that you want the crowd participation in it. So I get that. I mean, yeah, Musiq to me has better songs than Anthony Hamilton. I'll give you that. I mean, if it were like a song for song, just pure song for song, Musiq has the deeper and better catalog. I give you that. But you really think that he performed better than Anthony Hamilton? Because in my opinion, it wasn't even close when it comes to performance. Anthony Hamilton, I mean, he was just a much better performer and is a much better performer than Musiq Soulchild. He just is. Musiq Soulchild, there are certain times where you can tell he was just disinterested up there. Now, sit up here and tell me that there weren't a couple of times where you're thinking, yo, really, man? I mean, do you really want to be here? Because he was like, blah, 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 and just pulled. Where Anthony Hamilton just brought more. He was just better to me. Now, again, Musiq does have the better songs. I'm not even going to argue that. But you have to admit that Anthony Hamilton had the better stage presence, has the better voice. He even brought out better people. I mean, again, Donnell Jones, Raheem Devon, and those guys. Now, if you want to say Lucky Day was better than a lot of the guys they brought out, I won't disagree with that, because Lucky Day performed pretty well. But and let's face it, he outsang Musiq in some ways, man. But overall, Anthony Hamilton won the Verzuz as far as his performance. Now, again, if you're going to just go by song catalog, oh, of course, Musiq song catalog is better. But tell me that you weren't disappointed. Yeah, it was just about songs, no need for performers. Play the song. What showed up tonight, it was Anthony Hamilton. And I totally agree with that, Gary Winfield. And I'm going to highlight you also, since you were the first person to say, first of all, I don't look nothing like Sway, but all right. Musiq won. And yes, Musiq does have better songs, no question about it. You said Musiq won? No, are you serious? They were both spotty at times while singing. I don't think neither can sing at the level they once did. I think they can, but I think it's more I think the Verzuz style is totally different from a concert style. I mean, that's just my opinion. But either way, Anthony Hamilton just outsang Musiq Soulchild. Not even close. Not even close. Now, Rare Form, you said Musiq won. No debate. Well, we're going to agree to disagree on that one. If you're going to say Musiq won as far as song catalog, it's not even close. But if that's the case, they shouldn't even do Verzuz. Because let's face it, Musiq Soulchild's song catalog is better than Anthony Hamilton's. But Anthony Hamilton is the better singer. He had the better stage presence. And if you want to say the other performers are irrelevant, Anthony Hamilton was just better. Now, the last two songs, if Musiq had brought the same energy that he had the last two songs, then I would say that Musiq would have won hands down. But he did not. And you can tell he didn't. I mean, there were a couple of times where it seemed like he didn't even want to be there. But he did do it for the culture. And you can tell that both guys have a lot of respect for each other. And rightfully so. And they are definitely two different, and I understand styles I don't want to say fights, even though it is a Verzuz. But Anthony Hamilton just has that down-home Southern, just that thing going for him. But Musiq Soulchild, and we know that Musiq Soulchild is laid back, but he's almost too laid back at times, in my opinion. But it was definitely good for the culture. It was good for, I don't know if I consider Anthony Hamilton neo-soul. Obviously, Musiq Soulchild is one of the top 3 neo-soul males of all time. Now, I'm going to be honest. If any of those guys went up against a Maxwell would dust him. I mean, Maxwell could do 5 songs and dust Musiq Soulchild and Anthony Hamilton. That I will give you, because he is the king of neo-soul. I mean, there's no debate about that. But if I'm going to give this Verzuz a grade, I'll say it's a B-. Oh, excuse me, guys. But that was my opinion of the Verzuz. And again, I know that it had just had a different type of feel because it's a Valentine Verzuz. But it was good to see that those two guys, they handle it like professionals. And again, it's a win for neo soul. It's a win for R&B, and it is, of course, a win for the culture. Thank you so much for joining me. Uncle Claude signing out. You can keep just leaving the comments. A lot of people think that Musiq Soulchild won. Again, to me, Anthony Hamilton won hands down. If you're going to go by catalog, of course, Musiq Soulchild has the better catalog. But once again, Anthony Hamilton's the better singer, and he had the better stage presence. So, in my opinion, Anthony Hamilton won this one going away. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Uncle Claude signing out. Take care. God bless and stay safe, everyone. Good night.